Alright, so today I thought I'd make another video because we have a big piece of the Outback that came in today. So, if you guys can see what that says, BNR supercar. So, this is the turbo that I got for the car, and it finally came in today. It took about 2 weeks from placing the order to getting here, which is pretty good, really, for a small shop. I did have to call them to order, which is a little weird. They don't really have an online ordering system, but it was easy, and the turbo came quick, like I mentioned. Now, I've already opened this, so no unboxing video, unfortunately, but I can still show you what all this comes with, and I'm going to also show you how to put it on the car. So, of course, the turbo, which is here, we'll open that later, but other than the turbo, is the invoice. It's just trash. It also comes with coolant pipes, which I wasn't expecting, along with the oil drain, that looks like the turbo gasket, downpipe gasket, and uppipe gasket. So, and coolant and oil fittings and a bunch of, copper washers. So I wasn't expecting this. To be honest, I already bought a lot of these gaskets, but if I, would have known that this came with, then you could save a little bit of money, but, that's fine. It wasn't that expensive anyway. Now, going to the turbo itself, what I ended up getting is, let me put this down for a second. It's the smallest turbo in the lineup. So this is the 16G EVO 3, I think that's what they call it. And this is supposed to be a direct bolt-on replacement for an EJ255. So the reason why I went for the smallest one is because I have a stock engine. I'm not looking to make a lot of power. I needed to buy a turbo, but I didn't want to buy an OEM one, and this is only it costs slightly more than what an OEM one will go for. So also, I'm going to be running a catalyst downpipe, and I have heard of OEM turbos, even VF52s, when you put a catalyst downpipe on it, and when the weather starts to get cold, it'll hit boost cut, and which these should not. So, yeah, that's what they look like. Pretty good, pretty cool. Of course, it has no shaft plate in it because it's brand new BNR. And I think this wastegate, as it comes, is set at 13 pounds. And I don't really see why I would be changing that. And this is just the OEM exhaust or downpipe connection and uppipe connection as well. So, also what I have here is an uppipe that I just bought on eBay, and this is the OEM catalyst 2-inch uppipe that they put on later WRX SDIs. So let's go ahead and get both of these put on the engine. And here is the engine. So, as you can see, the garage is a huge mess, just because I haven't been bothered to clean up until I could get the engine in the car. But anyway, here's where we're at with it. It's just kind of been sitting like this for the last week or two, just because I was waiting on parts. And so nothing's changed here. I'm still waiting for a bunch of these lines to come in so I could replace them and so I could put the intake manifold back on the car. But for now, I think what I'm going to plan on doing today is bolt the up pipe to down pipe, or put the up pipe to the header here, and have that come up, bolt the header on, see if I could get any of the coolant or oil lines on, and then also I'm going to put the rest of the exhaust heat shield back on it. So yeah, let's do that. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to actually raise the engine, just so that I have more room to work on it, and just let it hang off the crane. It'll be fine that way. So now that the engine's in the air, these are the bolts that are going to be connected up pipe, and I think what I'm going to do is and now I might have to change this, but initially I want to have the nut going this way, just so that I have better access for the torque wrench. So, and gasket, I should have a new one. The Subaru part number is this. Come on. 44022A170, and the Felpro equivalent is 61365. So we're gonna go ahead and bolt that on next. And another thing I'm gonna do actually is I'm going to just clean this surface up a little bit with brake clean and just a towel, just to make sure I'm getting as good of a surface as possible. Where'd that go now? Want to guess it? And I'm just gonna apply torque evenly side to side just to make sure the gaskets crushes as evenly as possible. And then the torque spec here finally is gonna be 26 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to put the rest of the heat shield back on the exhaust, so just over here. And on the other side as well, when I just took it off when I disassembled the old engine. So on this side, there's two different sizes. You can see there's a short one and a tall one. I think I'm going to put the tall bolts in this one and use the short one on the bottom here. I think that's how it should be. So actually it seems like the short one will go at the top. That seems to thread in, and this is also threading in, so we'll leave it the way that is. As long as it really goes together, then you're good. And I'm not going to tighten these too much, just because these are just going to weld themselves to the exhaust just based on the being exposed to the road and the heat. So I'm just going to get the hand basically snug, and I'm gonna call that good. And now I'm going to install the oxygen sensor. So I originally pulled this off because I saw a little bit of damage here. So you can see, yeah, over there. So I thought I was gonna replace it, but then I looked up how much they cost, and I figure I'm going to try and roll the dice here. If it works out, great. If not, it shouldn't be too hard to replace. So I'm just going to install this back in. Now, when I do that, I am going to use anti-seize over here. And again, you don't need to torque the oxygen sensor that tight. So just hand tight and just snug it good, and that'll be fine. Alright, so I got my little dab of anti-seize, and I'm going to thread it in by hand and just snug it down. I think this is a 22 mil. Let me double check. Kill one of that, and that is good. Now I'm going to put the engine back down on the exhaust manifold and just mock up the turbo. So I'm not actually going to put the Uppipe gasket on yet because I am missing the oil drain line still, and you know, I want to put that all together, install it as a unit. But you know, I still want to see kind of what the turbo will look like, so I'm going to mock it up anyway, just so that I have a thumbnail. And there it is, a 16G EVO on the EJ255. So we'll pick it back up whenever I get the rest of the parts in, and see y'all then.